Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Spirit of Creating. And in today's episode, I wanted to bring to light the relationship you might have with your art. And if you've ever considered that you're in a relationship with your art, and that like any relationship, there's a reciprocity to it. You'd have to put into a relationship and be present and loving within it. And we consider our relationships with our loved ones and the people in our worlds, but we don't always consider that we're in relationship with ourselves and our actions, and that includes our creativity. And that it's like a living and breathing connection. It's ever present, but we do have to acknowledge it and pay attention to it and engage with it to bring it alive. We are the catalysts for it to come alive. And otherwise, it just kind of remains dormant, but ready for our energy and our focus to look in its direction. So we need to kind of consider the question, what does my art give to me? And what do I give to my art? And so when I think about myself, I can't remember a time when my creativity or my connection to my art hasn't been present in some format or another. And it's been there in moments of joy and delight, and it's been there in moments of sorrow and loneliness. And it's always felt like it's something I could turn towards, and it would be there for me to kind of tap into and engage in. And I wanted it to be a reciprocal relationship because I did feel like it gave me something and I wanted to give something back, like you would in any healthy relationship. And so I wanted to discuss this topic as an area where we consider our creative calling as something that's alive within us, and that we don't want to see it as something outside of us, but as something very much alive within us, wanting our participation and collaboration with it. And we want to show it respect and advocate for it, know its value and worth, and hold it in high regard. I don't want to be dismissive of it. I don't want to ignore it. And I don't want to collaborate and create from it and then shamefully hide what I've created as though it's not good enough to be shared with other people. I don't want to view it as when I create, it needs to be better than it is, because it can't be better than it is if I'm not giving it time and attention. We can't create great pieces of art without spending a lot of time, energy, and attention on our art and our creative practice. It requires our immersion into it. And it gives you what you give back. We can take it for granted that it's there, like we can do in any loving, reciprocal relationship. We can take people for granted, but we can also take this creativity that lives within us for granted. But it's non-judgmental. It doesn't stand there, wait for us, and if we don't show up, hold grudges, which is incredible. It doesn't say, well, you took your time showing up. It's been 20 years and I've been calling you and you haven't picked up the phone. It doesn't hold any resentment, any judgment, no grudges. And it's always there to hold us, create from it, and collaborate with us, which is incredible. And so it's great for us as creatives and artists to know this and to know that there's no consequence to not showing up for our art as if then it disappears and we've lost it. This isn't like a job we take up. This is a calling. It's never going to be away from us. It's always going to be a calling within us. And we're always going to be free to connect with it anytime we choose, even if we've never connected with it over a lifetime. And in our last days, we decide to engage with it. It's there. It doesn't have a deadline. It doesn't have a timeline. We can ignore it for a lifetime, and it's there for us, patiently waiting, unwavering, and ready to catalyze as soon as we appear. And I think a creative relationship is one to be nurtured and to not personally hold any judgment against yourself if you don't have the time, if you haven't got the energy, if you're not feeling like you want to engage with it, but to always know that it's there for you whenever you decide to, for however long you decide to. And then if you want to opt out and not engage with it again, it's fine. You can do that as well. And it's still going to be there for you. And this is really about knowing how it's always there for you, always there for you to connect with, always there for you to collaborate with. And when we see it as a living relationship and we see it as a reciprocal one, then we might be less likely to take it for granted. And we might be less likely to fear it as though it, how dare we show up for it when we haven't before? Or, I can't be calling myself an artist if I haven't painted for 5 years. Yes, you can. You can call yourself an artist. If you've got a creative calling within you and it never leaves you and you know it's always there, then it's there for a reason and you are meant to create from it. But if you don't create from it in the next 5 years, it doesn't disappear. It's stable, it's constant, it's innate, and it's there for you to collaborate with and connect with. And it's there to support you in your creativity and your creative explorations. So it's important and valuable to see as a living, breathing relationship that you can connect with and that you can cultivate and you can grow and improve from. And it's there for you unconditionally, even if you can't show up for whatever reason. And when you view it like that, it becomes more of a friend and not as something outside of you that you feel you have to be inspired to connect with. Or if you're not painting every day or every other day, then you're not creatively engaged. It doesn't have any of those remits. It just allows you to be as you are, knowing that you're an artist at heart. And whenever you decide to pick up the brush or pick up the pen, you're re-engaged, which is fantastic. Let me know what you think about this episode, and I shall be back again next week.